So you might be thinking, what the heck has drinking beer at a Yard House restaurant in America got to do with building my health business? Well, I'm glad you asked, because what I discovered on that one night allowed me to really drive my business forward, and I've done that with hundreds of others based on these 2 or 3 simple principles. So let's get stuck in right now so that you can get the benefit that I got as well. Okay team, so let's get the record straight right now. I wasn't drunk, I was actually there with my family. We were actually in Hawaii with my family. My 3 beautiful girls and my wife were there for her 40th. We took over some family and friends as well. So we actually had a big gathering at a Yard House restaurant in Honolulu. We'd had a fantastic day, and as a net result, we managed to get some really great learning experiences at night as well. And so there I was, having a great time, having some great food, experiencing, well, a lot of the American culture to do with drinking, having fun, music, lots of TVs on. And what I find, look, hey, it's a great environment. There's a lot of people to be able to learn from. There's a lot of people to be able to have fun with. And we were having a great time that night. One of the big things that I found myself doing was we would actually have service at the tables. And what I found myself doing, along with 2 of my other friends and a couple of the husbands that were there with us as well, we were actually finding that we preferred to leave the table and actually go to the bar to order drinks. Not because well, to be totally honest, there wasn't really any theory behind it at the time, except for the fact that when someone hands you a menu and you go, wow, there is a lot of beers here. Like, I'm talking in excess of 100 beers, and that's part of what Yard House is known for. You know, you can see all the taps going along the roof. I'll put some footage in on the video side as well, so that you'll actually be able to see it as well. You've got, for those that haven't been to Yard House, and if you are and you're around any of them in and around America, go. They are super fun, right? And you get to see all the different, the bar's always in the middle, so all the different beers on tap, and there's just taps going on all 4 sides of the bar. There's big TV screens up. It's really cool. So we were actually in a scenario where, for no other reason but we wanted to go and choose the beer based on being a bit more immersed in the actual Yard House environment and the experience. Because someone can hand you a menu and you can open up and you can say, look, here are the ales, here are the lagers, here is from, you know, the local ones, the international brews, and divide them up into different pages. They can divide them up into different headings and put all of those things in place. But the real experience is being able to go and actually see, you know, 120 different taps with all the beers, how they flow, being able to see the different pictures, the logos, the colors. And they also do this with all of the TVs. So all the TVs with all the sports on. So when you're there and it's football Sunday and there's 8 or 10 games of NFL football on at the same time, you can actually go and watch 8 or 10 games of football at the same time with the guys at the bar, order the drinks, and hey, you know what? It's fun, it's immersive, and it's a great experience. And so that's what we were doing. But here's what I learned, and here's what we've been able to apply and get huge success of in the health industry. Whilst that might be fun, and whilst that might be an experience, and yeah, it's a great experience, and it's one that, you know, a year later I'm telling a story about, okay? Here's what I learned massively. Part of it was there was friction in the ordering process. There was too much selection. There was too many beers to choose from. There was too many avenues for us to go, oh, do I feel like a lager? Do I feel like a, you know, not just the size of the beer that you wanted, but do I want a light beer, a dark beer? Do I want an ale? You know, and it starts to get too confusing. And here's the thing. A confused mind buys nothing. And so we know that from so many of our sales guys over the years. Guys like Jeffrey Gitomer and things like that have taught us that, you know, a confused mind buys nothing. And that was exactly the proof of what we found on that night. We didn't just go, hey, we're going to leave the ladies and leave the kids and shoot off to the bar to be blokes. We actually, the original intent, whether you believe me or not, the original intent was actually to go and be able to choose our beer. We may have stayed a bit longer to watch the sport as well, but that's a different story. But here's the thing. We literally want to go and choose a beer and have a look at what's actually there. What are my options? What's there? Because words on a page aren't nearly as powerful as seeing it and being able to watch all the beers getting poured and all the taps coming down the walls, over the rooftop, etc. It's really cool. So we actually went because we were confused. We didn't know exactly what we wanted. We didn't want to just go and buy, a Heineken or a Corona or something like that you would buy, say, here in Australia. We wanted to actually try different beers. So we weren't too sure. So we wanted to go and talk to the bar staff, all right, the bartenders, to actually say, hey, what do you think? This is sort of what I'm looking for, this type of taste. This is what I really like, what I don't like. What would you recommend? And get their ideas and thoughts on the process. So there was actually a method in our madness. But what we need to stop and remember is that ultimately there was a friction point in the buying process. There was also way too many options that created confusion for us in the first place and made us actually make a purchasing decision. And the original purchasing decision was not to purchase at all. And to be totally honest, if it was hard and it was your allied health business and you make it too hard, people don't buy because a confused mind buys nothing. And so as a net result, you would find more people going, let me think about that. Or I'll have to talk to my friend about that, or I'll have to try and see which one I think is going to work best, which time's going to work best, or I just don't know whether that's right for me. Let me come back to you. Now, all of you listening to this are going to go, yeah, we've had that before. Every single person has had that before, where we let people walk away from that converted sale and actually try and decipher for themselves what's best for them. But hey, here's the thing. We're the allied health professional. We're the one that should be tailoring in a solution to the problem that they're wanting us for. So allowing them to fundamentally then walk away and decide which option they should choose fundamentally means that we're doing the wrong thing. We're not providing with the right pathway and the right guidance to actually be the solution to their problem. We're not actually showing them what is going to be best for them moving forward. Because without a shadow of doubt, when you're saying you're in place X and you want to get to Y, and the best things are these 3 steps, doing this, then that, here's what we can do, here's what's going to suit you best, would you be open to making sure that we get that happening? That is the best way to have a pathway. That is the best way to make sure people understand what they need to do next and why. If we turn around and say, well, you could get that shoulder fixed by, doing Pilates, or you could do a strength program, or, hey, we run gym programs. We could do it as a group as well. You could do that as well. But then again, maybe you see the physio that we've got first and do that. I mean, you could just go and see the exercise physiologist, do it. Or, we've got our massage therapist who might just, make sure that you're nice and loose and you don't have any tight muscles and blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden the person's going, well, hang on, am I seeing the physio or the massage therapist, the EP? What? But then I know I'm a little bit overweight as well, so maybe I should see the dietitian. Oh, well, we've got a dietitian too, and we've got, all of a sudden, a huge amount of confusion, a huge amount of friction. They don't know what's next. They don't know the logical next step. All because we're trying to be everything to everyone. We're trying to give so many options. We're trying to make ourselves the generalist of everything. And that fundamentally is one of the biggest challenges I see with loads and loads of health businesses in Australia alone and externally around the world. It's the same problem for all of us. We try and feel that by being, oh yeah, I do that too. Me too, me too, me too. We know the whole Me Too movement, all right? And that's for completely different things. But here's the thing. While ever you're like, yeah, we do that too. Yep. It's like, do we have 1,000 beers at the Yard restaurant? Or they have 120 or something at Yard House, right? Do you have that beer? Yeah, we do. Do you have that? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So whilst it may seem like it's a great thing for you in your health business to have every option under the sun, right? And maybe your competitors have a lot of these, so you feel like you need to too. The challenge is this. Yard House is good and it gives you that experience. And that's a unique selling point for them to say, hey, we basically got every beer you could possibly want. That's a selling point, right? But what they don't go ahead and do really well is just specialize in one scenario, right? They use that as a value add. They use that as a dual way to work their restaurant. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they're making money from their food, not from their drinks. Now, what they have taught us about the health industry is that you need to be more specific. Absolutely, can you have a lot of these different avenues in place and a lot of different, selling beer options? Absolutely, you can. Can you have a lot more sales and productivity wise to be able to value add and to be the lots of beer side of things, but know that you make money in the other areas? Yes. And that's what you need to understand right now. Potentially have a lot of products and services. That can be fine. I'm not telling you only do one thing. But what I'm telling you is to be very, very clear about what your core product or 2 or 3 core products are, so that you can make sure all of your marketing, all of your branding, the way you talk, the funneling process through conversion, sales, and marketing works into those core products. So Yard House, yeah, they do have an avenue to have lots of beers on tap. Yes, they do have a lot of TVs to watch sport on. Yes, they do have a huge extensive menu, etc., right? That's the equivalent of lots of products and services in your health business. But what they know very well is that they sell the restaurant on the food, and that's where the core product of where they make their money. So in your health business right now, you might have all these extra scenarios in place. You might have lots of different products and services, and that's fine. I'd say 2 things. One is make sure you're not just offering all these different services because of me too, and you feel like you have to be everything to everyone. And maybe you feel a bit that way because a competitor down the road does, and they might get more clients, and you start hyperventilating. Guys, seriously, stop, breathe, and look at the situation. People are not going to another health business down the road because they've got every service under the sun. They're going to that health business down the road because they've got exactly what they need and appear to be the authority in that area for their needs right now. So they might not, in many respects right now, be your ideal client and ideal target. So don't waste your time and effort. What you need to be focusing on are your 2 or 3 core avenues for business revenue, business growth, and what you specialize in, what your niche is, what your major disciplines are that are going to be best for the clients you have now and into the future. So here's the thing. Don't try and be everything to everyone. Don't be a generalist at everything. Don't try and just promote every service you possibly can. Be very clear about your core business, about what the 2 or 3 core things are that you do. Don't create an avenue where you're going to create confusion. We want to be very clear about what we tell people, why we tell people. We want to be very clear about what their logical next steps are. So their decision is when they're coming to see you, what day is best for them. Am I going to do it on Tuesday or Thursday? We want to create a clear pattern of exactly what they need to do, so we remove that friction. We remove the confusion of what to buy because there's too much choice. And we remove the avenue of, well, there's lots of different things I could do. I need to stop and think about what's best for me. Create a clear pattern and a clear direction so they know what's next, what they need to do, what the logical next step is. Know your core business. Absolutely have more avenues off to the side that you can upsell and value add later, and more avenues to be able to speak to them about and ultimately sell to their own, to their family, to their friends, to their colleagues, etc. Absolutely. But remember Yard House, they sell it as a restaurant, as an experience based on their food and what they do in that respect. They just use the beers and 100+ beers on tap and the sports and things like that as the extra incentive, the extra value and the extra little fringes that are great and create a customer experience, but ultimately they know what their core business is and they make the money from the food. That's what they push and market and promote, and that's what you need to do in your health business. So, drinking beer at the bar with 100 beers to choose from and sport on TV with your friends might sound like, hey, that's fun, but ultimately at the end of the day, you're going to sell that sizzle a little bit before you sell the sausage. But here's the thing, know your core reason why you exist, your core products, and then you can value add. Then you can use the upsell, cross sells. Then you can use the patient pathway models that we have, etc. But ultimately, start simple. Start knowing exactly what your core principles are, how you need to do it, what you need to be able to do and promote. Don't be the generalist of everything. Make sure you've got your authority in your 2 or 3 core areas, and then allow yourself to build out, upsell and cross-sell from there. Because without it, you're going to appear to be everything to everyone. You're going to create too much confusion and people won't know when to buy. So that's it. Be specific, be clear, put the next logical steps in place and know what your core avenues are for your business to grow and operate from right now. I'll talk to you again soon. Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.